Okay. How's it, everybody? Hope everyone is doing well. This good evening, you know what I mean? We're back at it. We're back again, must be crazy podcast, where it gets crazy, or where we react to things that are crazy and we talk about it,
Uh,
you know. It's like, man, like right now we have a crazy president, you know what I mean? So it must be crazy for real, you know. But yeah, I mean, I'm here with Vedas, perhaps maybe some people will join in as well as the show goes along. But yeah, what's going on there?
What's up? What's up, mphatho lethu niphathi bantu benkosi. Senibingelele
see?
egameni le must be crazy.
Did you see that? I don't know this high court thing, Ramaphosa, this thing of trying to stop the impeachment. They're gonna give, I guess, the final, the outcome on Friday. So the
Oh,
court is gonna decide. Even though it's a stupid thing that was not even supposed to be heard, in court to begin with. Because how can you take a decision from the constitution or the constitutional court and it goes down a level and then you contest it, at lower courts? That's weird. Unless maybe in that court you have your own people that you are paying. You know what I mean? But even if you are paying those people, how can they overrule the constitutional court? I don't understand, you know. But we shall see. I think I'm hoping it will be what everyone thinks, that it will be nothing, The judges are gonna say, hey man, this was a waste of time. I don't even know why it took them so long to come to it. Bruh, they could say today. Why wait for Friday? You know what I mean? I don't understand. What's there
but
to
they
wait for?
still they trying to find ways to maneuver, bruh. And then, like you see, the previous judgment that was done by the constitutional courts. I think it was almost 2 years since the judgment was reserved. What were they doing all along? And then they came up with the judgment they came up with. They were trying to find ways, but they were like, Ish, if we really entertain this, people are really going to take, this constitutional what for a joke. So they were like, hey, let's try the only safer way to dish this rotten play to trace away later from them was to do the ruling. I'm sure they tried, but they were like, no, just like this one. Because what would they be doing the whole entire week? It's so obvious, man. So they're trying to find ways, and then till the last day, we're like, there's nothing we can do. Let's just, they'll come up with the easiest explanation, but it's taking them a week
Bruh, it's
to figure
simple.
out.
It's so simple to the point where, bruh, anyone can just see it. It's that simple to the point where, I mean, we are left with no choice but to doubt
It's
the judicial system as
it's
well.
it's like the churchgoers. They cannot defy God. They cannot go against God. They can try, but like, hey, no, hey, it's God. Hey, we can't. Same thing with this judgment. Just making an example.
It's weird, but then I have a video. I think we have the exclusive. You know what I mean? Because I've been going around social media trying to find um, these news in a way. It's still fresh. You know what I mean? So we might be actually the first ones to react to it. You know.
Hmm.
So just for anybody that is coming in now and don't know what we're talking about. So yeah, this is it, guys. Make sure that you like and subscribe. You know what I mean,
And
and comment,
comment.
Joe, and engage on the live chat. You know what I mean. And this guy's Afro, bro, never changes, bro. That's wild.
He's a cartoon, bro.
Cyril Ramaphosa's urgent High Court application to stop the work of the Impeachment Committee in Parliament will now be delivered on Friday. Just
So stop the work.
There had been days of argument in court where President Cyril Ramaphosa says that this Impeachment Committee should not be allowed to go ahead. It would possibly look at whether there is cause for the president to be impeached based on the theft of foreign currency from his Pala Pala farm about 5-6 years ago now. The president saying that ultimately he wants this stayed, put on hold until he's been able to challenge that panel report, that independent panel report that found he may very well have a case to answer in this matter. It has been a long legal journey to get here because Parliament was taken all the way to the Constitutional Court, where it was then eventually forced to rerun the process, which has now led to the birth of the Impeachment Committee itself. But the president will know now in the coming days, on Friday, I think we've just said, whether or not he's been successful in, at least for now, putting a stop, shall we say, to the work of the Impeachment Committee, arguing that he would suffer harm ultimately if that work continued now. But we know that the Impeachment
I was waiting for that part.
Has said that that is not true.
This is just insane, bro. I cannot even believe that this is in real life, bro. You know, I just cannot believe that this is real life. But what you think, like, maybe let's dive in deep to conspiracy theories. Because, you know, my conspiracy mind, I'm like, might they really try to, like, stop this impeachment thing? Because this is not just Ramaphosa behind this. You know what I mean? It's not him going through all these lengths to stop this impeachment. It's people that want him to remain in power that are making sure, or at least trying to make sure. Because let's say maybe on November, you have a meeting in London or in Paris, whatever, right? With these people. I'm not talking about the publicized meetings where it's Macron and whatnot, you know, it's all in the public. But the handlers, the people that maybe even control your Macrons and others, you know what I mean? And maybe there's a plan for the next year, you know what I mean? For the next year, maybe on January, February, whatever, the plan for South Africa that they're going to have to give him. And then now, impeaching him would mean that a different person now must be in power. Like, remember even the reason of the deputy not being left in power when even the president is away. Perhaps because maybe he's not supposed to be there in terms of how they want things to run. You know what I mean? So, and then let's say that there's that meeting that he needs to attend. They don't want to risk not having him as a president because everything has already been agreed to, you know, whatever the money is that he receives on the side, whether the pala. I can promise you right now, those dollars that were found there under his couch are not the only dollars that is received or kept, you know, in South Africa. I can guarantee you don't do stuff like that with no experience. And I'm sure that, yes, it was stupid to put it under the couch, but also I'm sure that he thought like nothing will happen. Do you know what I mean?
He's the president. No one will break in. Nothing will happen.
Yeah.
But you sparked something in the. What was I going to say? Fuck! Why is it escaping me now? Shit. Maybe it'll come back.
My conspiracy, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting old. You sparked something with his handlers. They want him to remain in power. I can see that, because if you were to trace back the last few months, even a year, past 2 years, there's been certain laws being passed, like not necessarily laws, but contracts being signed regarding our energy sector, private producers being brought into the table, some firms being allowed to produce certain kilowatts of electricity in their own independent power station, which has never been the case before. So a lot of contracts were signed regarding the energy sector alone.
And also,
So if he's no longer in power, if someone like former President Zuma comes into power, making an example, all those things might be reversed or be squashed and thrown in the bin. And they can't have that. They want these contracts to continue. Remember when he took over, was it 2018 when Zuma stepped down? The contracts, the new contracts that were signed during Gupta's era, those contracts that were signed there, if you were to go back and listen to, I forgot that guy, I think he used to be a CEO of Eskom or Transnet, it's Molev or something, Papa Molev. He said something about before the previous contracts were cancelled, they were getting, coal was like super expensive, I don't know, 200 or what. But then Zuma came into power, they changed things around, the prices started being reasonable. They were 100 something instead of 200. I don't know how they counted, but those were the numbers thrown there. So, but just to make it simpler, the previous coal suppliers were making about 1,000% profit. So, the Eskom buying coal from them. So when these guys came into power, Zuma and then put some more Molefe there and there, the coal went back to a normal stable price. And then replaced those contractors or suppliers with PE suppliers. Just to make things like to try and balance things out, because those previous suppliers have been there since the beginning of time, since during the apartheid era. So things like that happened before. So his handlers maybe would say they know it has happened before. So right now huge deals have been like already made, and they can't afford to lose.
Hey, it's crazy, man. And there are things that also they don't talk about. When they even talk about mining, you only hear about your coppers, your gold, your diamonds. We never hear about uranium. It's not as if they're just looking at it and not digging it up. You know what I mean? Something is happening. So there's a lot of stuff as well. Even with fruits, it's like, bro, I don't know when was the last time I ate the proper orange, bro. I don't get to eat a proper orange anymore because all these oranges are shipped out, all the good ones, and we just get left behind with the
we get them the GM, the genetically modified ones.
So it's insane. There's so many things, but those things at the end of the day, there's only one way to change those things, you know what I mean? It's just courage, you know what I mean, and the will. But then these people don't want to have the will or the courage because they're satisfied, bro. Bro, you see the numbers that they're throwing around, bro. If a guy like Ket Matal can receive a tender of what, 200, 300 million, some change, you know what I mean?
300.
And then imagine the type of monies that come Ramaphosa's way or Figile Mbalula's way. Oh, these guys, bro. Even Malema is eating, bro. These people are eating, bro. You don't even have to be in government and whatnot. As long as you're there, political parties. Look at how happy is who's this guy?
Okay.
Right now, about Nigeria, there's some stuff, and maybe tomorrow we can maybe do that video. So it's being questioned, or there's some questions around the money, whether it was given to him for preparations of the World Cup for South Africa, or it's the money that Bafana got from the World Cup. So I have to find those details and say, but there's questions around that as well. You know what I mean? But I think it's money that was taken from the Department of Sports and whatnot, which was meant to, I guess, be for preparations for the national team. So I guess now there's some rumors around that, the good old story of South African politicians, that somehow there was corruption in there as well. So there's a lot of stuff. But in continuing with this Ramaphosa thing, let me play this other video of this guy that looks like the minister of Home Affairs.
Now, just before you play that video, since you were applying your conspiracy mind, I'm curious recently I just found out Europe kicked South Africa out of its thingy. No, they say they're no longer accepting South African visitors.
Europe.
So I don't know, maybe Europe. I'm not sure if it's part of teaching him a lesson or what, but since we are applying our conspiracy. Yeah, I heard that. I'm not sure if it's real or not.
It's just
they said it's Europe because there was a European flag shown there. And I even saw a video of him talking, saying they just called him and said South Africa is no longer allowed in Europe. There was no discussion. There was no what. So yeah, you can look it up. I just came across it today.
Well, if it's that, so I don't mind that, to be honest.
Yeah, but now I'm saying as we are applying our conspiracy theory minds, I don't know where this sticks, but out of curiosity, like maybe are they teaching him some sort of a lesson, but they're saying it's because of this xenophobic attacks, which aren't in existence.
But then as I'm seeing here, it's saying that South Africa is not banned from Europe. In fact, the European Union formally removed South Africa from its list of high-risk debt country banned for money laundering and whatnot. So really, they removed South Africa from the list of high-risk debt world countries.
So those who hate South Africa flipped it the other way around and made it as if. But now, how did they make him speak? Maybe it was the AI, because maybe it's an old video. I don't know, but there was a video of him speaking, saying that they just called him and not. And this thing is trending. So it's a good thing you looked it up, because I was also confused, like. Europe banning South Africa.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. Because I'm saying I'm reading as well now. Anything that has banning in it, it's talking about apartheid era. Because even here now, I'm on the South African government website. It's saying the same thing. National Treasury welcomes the removal of South Africa from the European Union's list of high risk about that country, whatever, and that. So
this is a proof of you can't really trust anything you see on the internet. You really have to dig deep to find your own truth. Maybe they inform you unintentionally with their faults, with their lies, and then you have to dig it up yourself to get the real meat.
Yeah, so if I were to read this thing and say the removal of South Africa from the European Union's list and just end it there, it can sound, like
it's misleading.
Yeah, well, they do this a lot, bro. Even with the World Cup, bro, I'm seeing, people trying to make it political, because Trump was there giving out the World Cup, to the Spanish team because they won. Yes, it's not really used because I've watched American sports, and then usually in American sports, what happens is they give the trophy to the owners of the team, and then the owners of the team I don't know, they give it to the players, but it's almost like the people that won are actually the owners of the team. They're the ones that are awarded the trophy first. So it's weird over there. Whereas in international sports, anywhere here in South Africa, in Europe, and whatnot, just outside of America, you don't even see the owners of the team and whatnot. So it's whoever, the people that are giving out the trophies, they're going to give the trophy to the captain of the team. And then the captain goes to the team and they all celebrate the trophy together, right? But the difference is with the World Cup, there's like so many, delegates and whatnot. So usually there's the president of the country that is hosting the World Cup. We saw that the same thing here with Jacob Zuma as well. So they get their medals, they shake their hands, and then the president, even the president of FIFA or both or whatnot, they go and present the trophy to the captain of the team, right? And then they celebrate. But then with Trump, living in America, bruh, because the owners of those teams in America, they're so important. They're always in every picture of the celebrations and whatnot, because to them, they won it, right? So it was almost like wanting to be in the picture when the Spanish team was celebrating and whatnot. And the FIFA president, was trying to say, let's move, you know what I mean? Let's move, And then now, the next day, I'm looking at Twitter and whatnot. And then people are like trying to make this political, you know what I mean? Even FIFA president had to run down and chase Trump to remove him from, it's like, it's not that deep, bro. So I've been seeing a lot of, because I've seen some AI manipulations as well, where I was watching this and it didn't happen this way. You know what I mean? I've seen, when players are going up the podium shaking president's hands and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing now images of or videos of as if there were players that were taking their hand away from shaking the hand of Trump and whatnot. Well, that didn't happen. Everybody shook his hand. Everybody. Yeah, but nobody was trying to pull away or was trying to contest or be an activist there. Nobody did none of that. In fact, it's the other way around. Some people gave a hug. It wasn't like in activist mode. It was everybody was just there, happy to be there. But then the AI manipulations online, it's almost as if the players did not want to touch him. All these things, So they can do that same thing with this thing, you know what I mean? And manipulate maybe the words of Ramaphosa, right? No. But regardless, it's crazy that South Africa was removed from the list of high risk. What do they call it again? High risk third country jurisdictions. What does it mean, though? What does it mean? So it says for money laundering and terrorism financing. Also meaning that South Africa does not money launder and does not fund terrorism.
So it's only now they realize that. Because I know even with Mandela, it took them forever to remove him in my terrorist list, because he was regarded as a terrorist.
Imagine. Nah, but I'm sure for Mandela it was just for street cred. But let me play this one as well.
The topic for the day.
Impeachment Committee, one step closer to beginning its work. The preparatory work to nominate an evidence leader, the lawyer who will really guide the case, is getting closer and closer. Political parties submitting names of candidates they hope will lead the process. The pending appointment, eventually to be made by Parliament, comes amid that case before the Western Cape High Court, in which the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, is trying to stop the impeachment process from going ahead. The 31-member committee is tasked with investigating the truthfulness of the findings against Ramaphosa, which were made by the independent panel back in 2022. Newsroom Africa's Zoleka Kodashe joins us in studio for more on this. Zoleka, good afternoon to you. We've all seen how important the position of an evidence leader is, and we saw that with the ad hoc committee in particular. This is something that parties are going to fight about, right? Whoever wins this fight is a step closer to getting whatever they want from this process.
That's correct, Stephen. And in fact, what political parties or the impeachment committee really seeks to do with the appointment of or the nomination of names for an evidence leader is really to get someone that is able to extract as much information as possible from the witnesses that will be appearing before the parliamentary impeachment committee. I think it's important also to note that impartiality is also something that is going to be important for this particular role, given the fact that political parties have somewhat taken a stance. Some political parties have somewhat taken a stance in relation to the president and the scope of what the impeachment committee seeks to do, which is to test the veracity of the claims that have been made against President Cyril Ramaphosa relating to the theft on his Phala farm in 2020. And so they will be looking at not only the Section 89 independent panel report, but also the initial notice of motion that was made by Vuyo Zungula, ATM parliamentary leader, in 2022. And so really the role of the evidence leader is to get as much information as possible, but also to be unbiased in this entire process. And there are several names that have been put forward by political parties. We have Action SA nominating advocate Kate Hofmeyr, senior counsel. And it's also important to note that all of the counsel or senior counsels that have been nominated by the political parties boast several years of experience. So you have Advocate Kate Hofmeyr, who has been nominated. You have Advocate Vianney Ngalwana, senior counsel as well. You have Advocate Doran Goldberg as well. You have Advocate Tabani Masuku. And all of these senior counsel are names that have been submitted by political parties. But it's also important to note, Stephen, that in terms of the administrative process as well as administrative law, this appointment will be made by Parliament, given the fact that the Secretary of Parliament is the accounting officer, and it really does follow the procurement processes. So what political parties are doing at the moment is just to submit their names, which will also be discussed tomorrow when the impeachment committee holds its meeting.
You'll be watching the arm wrestling when it begins.
Of course.
At that point. So thanks very much indeed. A lot more arm wrestling to come, I suspect, on the impeachment committee. Zoleka Kodashe, thank you.
All right. So with these members of parliament that are supposed to be elected, to be part of this committee. So the information that I have here is that there should be 9 NC members, 5 DA, 3 MK, 2 EFF, and then 1 member from 12 smaller parties. Right? So I'm like, damn, 9 NC members.
5 DA.
5 DA.
And I don't have confidence with DA at all, because remember when this thing before the GNU was formed, they were so against Phala, excuse me, they wanted to bury Ramaphosa alive, but then they were invited to the GNU. Then their stance changed, and they've been quiet here for a number of times, regarding this issue. They toned it down, and then now they show themselves again during the ad hoc committee. Bruh, it was as if they are not there, bro. The questions they were asking, bro, went trying to get deep down, like say how, and unveil everything. So now it comes the impeachment. Already you have NC people who are gonna be questioning their own president. They obviously they're going to be biased. and it's gonna buy them. Cause I mean they do buy my conference or Polokwane Banbani. So and,
Yeah, he's
and
gonna
only three
straight up,
and only
and not
and
only
only
the
three from the
ANC
MK.
members.
Does the
Yeah,
ATM
three.
have a representative? I think they
Maybe
do, maybe
they're gonna have
one.
one. You know,
Yeah, but
maybe one.
even though EFF does its own thing, but during this process, I'll be looking at them and the MK and the ATM and the party that the chairperson is coming from is Rise Mzant or something. Also, those are the ones. Those are the questions. Those are the ones who are going to be coming up with the questions that are about unnecessary.
And it's probably gonna be some chaos because at the end of the
Yeah,
day, bro, it's
it's going
like,
to be very
you know.
chaotic.
So if you think about it, 9 members from the ANC, right, and then 5 from the DA. That's already what, 13, right? And then uh, 14, about,
14,
and then you're gonna have 12, right, from these
MK3.
other members. Like, I'm just talking about people that are definitely gonna try and save Ramaphosa. So that's already 14, and then you're gonna have at least two, at least two of the of from the smaller parties. You know, if PA is there, we know that we know who represents the PA, so we know they're probably gonna side with Ramaphosa. You know what I mean? And then others
15.
maybe, but that's 15, and then you can have one or two more. So around 15, 16 can save Ramaphosa in this, because that's like half of this. If they have the majority, of which for the majority they just need 16 people,
With useless
because
questions.
would use this question, because even if you do have Zungula in there, even if EFF members want Ramaphosa to step down and whatnot, they just won't have the power to impeach him. You know what I mean? But then
But you
hopefully
know,
they will have integrity. You know what I mean, and do the right thing.
whether they're able to step him down or not, the only thing I'm looking forward to is the questions they're going to have for him. Questions that are going to make him sort of reveal everything in a way without revealing it, just enough to expose him, who he is, and why he's been trying to hide this thing. Well, that's all we need. And then we'll see how the NC fools take it after that. See if they wanna, if they see what they're gonna do if they wanna win the November elections.
They're gonna buy the elections, bro. These people are insane. They have no morals whatsoever, bro. And they do
They
not
must
care
be
about this
crazy.
country, bro. They are very crazy, bro. Bro, these people, bro, they have no shame. You know, the way they go hard, bro, for all the bad things. There was even this video of, I think that lady was an MP member or MP of the DA, but the Bush is a, I don't know, a Xhosa lady or whatnot. So she was like talking about this other lady that was dismissed for corruption. And then next thing you know, she's hired in a different position. And then from that position, she's put in a position of acting. They like acting, acting minister of this or deputy minister of
That's
that.
how they shield
And you're like,
them.
man, how they reward corruption is wild behavior. And you see all these people that are coming under fire, even at the Matlanga Commission and whatnot. Most of them, if not all of them, were appointed by Cyril. Just like this lady, Andrea Johnson, handpicked by Cyril. The public protector, handpicked by Cyril, all these things. But yeah, man, Spanish life, what it is.
Yo, what's up? Hey, yes, I couldn't watch the video, so I don't know really what's going on, but I know see this pala pala business has been happening for years now, for years, and the talks about him being impeached, I doubt it because all of a sudden now everything must go through the proper due process and all this legal jargon, and all of a sudden it's being delayed, and I don't know why it's taking so long, and
Do you
how
know the story
come.
behind this thing? Maybe I can brief you a little bit.
I know. Well, I don't know the full story. I don't want to lie here.
Okay, so in
Uh,
short, let me just brief you. So, obviously, the Pala Pala thing happened, right? And then earlier this year, I think the Constitution, because before, I think 2022 and whatnot, there was supposed to be impeachment process, and I don't know how they stopped it and whatnot. And then I guess the Constitution was sitting on it for these years, and then they came out with, I guess, I don't want to say a verdict. I don't know how you say these things, but there was an outcome. Let me put it that way. Where now the constitution is saying it was unconstitutional to stop it and whatnot. So it needs to continue. You know what I mean? It needs to be established. There needs to be an impeachment committee and whatnot. You know what I mean? And then, for some reason, Ramaphosa took this to court, taking it to a lower court from the constitution, so a high court, to halt or stop, the impeachment from going on the impeachment committee. He's claiming that it's going to be embarrassed, you know what I mean? All the crazy stuff and whatnot. So I think last week, there were some hearings, people were there presenting the case. So he had his lawyer there as well to present the case for him. Talking about how irreparable. Hey man, this is too much. But harm, you know what I mean? you know.
so I
So
don't
now,
really.
like now, the thing that is happening is they're gonna come out with the outcome, this Friday, that High Court. You know what I mean? Whether this is going forward or not. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's where we at with it.
So do you know who? I guess the committee, the committee members, or the person who's supposed to handle the verdict from the High Court.
So right now, there's only the only person that seems to have a definitive position in this is a guy, I guess, who's on the rise of Mzansi and whatnot, who's supposedly going to be the chair of the committee, right? But then in terms of the members that will be questioning, Ramaphosa and whatnot, I think they're saying that it has to be 31 members of parliament, you know what I mean? And then out of those 31 members of parliament, nine will come from the ANC, five will come from the DA, three will come from the EFF, three will come from the MK, two will come from the EFF, and then they'll take one member from each of the other 12 parties. You know what I mean? And then those will be the people that will be questioning Ramaphosa. But those people are not selected as of yet because there's still going to be a nomination process. So there's going to be some chaos there of people trying to be in the committee. And then
I
obviously
bet.
Ramaphosa will have his own people that he'll want to be
For
on that
sure. For
committee,
sure.
So there might be some clashes on that nomination. It's going to be a clash between someone that wants to be in the committee with the person that is sent to be in the commission. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
So
So,
again, makancane, Venus, just wait a bit. My my brain it is not making sense out of all of this. That why should it be the members of parliament necessarily when we know they are part of EGNU, most of them, and most of them
Because they're the
came from
ones that can
ANC,
impeach the
and
president.
wait, like a lot of them came from the ANC, though.
Yeah, apparently NC is the majority, so they're gonna have more members in there.
So, no, my thing is, even those other political members or political parties, original, they came from the ANC.
Yeah, but there's nothing we can do. So what, like abolish this whole thing?
No, my thing is there's so many biases already. There's so many money floating around. So it is not fair, especially if you taking into account the history of these people and the history that they have and the money already that was being discussed behind
So
the
how would
scenes.
you maybe
Showing,
suggest he's removed from presidency?
don't get people who are somewhat involved in politics, get private investigators or attorneys or whatnot to
No,
question
for
and
the
inquire.
impeachment committee, you know what I mean? Because as people
Yeah,
in
that's what
South
I'm.
Africa, we don't like elect individuals, right? You know, we elect parties, and with those parties, whatever how many seats they get in parliament, those are the ones that are supposed to be sharing our views and concerns, you know, and we're not challenging the president and this, all those other things, you know what I mean? So we don't have a choice, really. You know, the thing that would probably be the most easiest thing to do would be for Ramaphosa to just resign and stop all this thing.
I mean, we know he's not gonna do that. We
So
know.
that's the thing.
I
It can't
mean,
be like you can't take private people and put them in parliament to do a business of people who are supposed to be in parliament and doing the right thing.
but then again, if we are crying about the same people when it comes to corruption, are we expecting a miracle in this on Friday? You said on Friday, the verdict on
No, no, no.
Friday.
On Friday
Oh, they are being
is
selected, the
no, no, no,
members,
no, no,
or
no,
what?
no, 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 no. Remember, I said that Ramaphosa is trying to stop this from happening at all. You know, so he took this to court. All right. He took this. So let me replay this video for you. So maybe it will help you catch up. You know, maybe it will help you catch up. Let me replay it.
To stop the work of Cyril Ramaphosa's urgent High Court application to stop the work of the Impeachment Committee in Parliament will now be delivered on Friday. Just some context for you that there had been days of argument in court where President Cyril Ramaphosa says that this Impeachment Committee should not be allowed to go ahead. It would possibly look at whether there is cause for the president to be impeached based on the theft of foreign currency from his Pala Pala farm about 5-6 years ago now. The president saying that ultimately he wants this stayed, put on hold until he's been able to challenge that panel report, that independent panel report that found he may very well have a case to answer in this matter. It has been a long legal journey to get here because Parliament was taken all the way to the Constitutional Court, where it was then eventually forced to rerun the process, which has now led to the birth of the Impeachment Committee itself. But the president will know now in the coming days, on Friday, I think we've just said, whether or not he's been successful in, at least for now, putting a stop, shall we say, to the work of the Impeachment Committee, arguing that he would suffer harm ultimately if that work continued now. But we know that the Impeachment Committee in its challenge has said that that is not true.
So get the gist.
Yeah, but my network is lagging quite a bit.
No,
But
but you okay?
I
Yeah,
get
my
it that he
side.
wants to really.
Yeah, there's no problems on the side.
Okay, okay, okay.
So the thing is, there's this thing of impeachment committee that needs to happen. So Ramaphosa is trying to stop that. That's why it's going to court. Not that what is happening on Friday is him being called into question and whatnot. He's trying to stop that from happening, the period. You know what I mean? and then he's gonna claim
I
whatever he
know.
wants to claim. But that's why, you know what I mean. So it's things like this, man. But yeah, I don't know. So maybe do you have an opinion yet on this?
Uh,
You're still
n-
confused.
no, I get it. It's just him trying to stay in power and trying to prevent him being exposed further. But I still need to grasp the
That's
situation
the way.
more.
Yeah. So yeah, Venus.
Yeah, I mean, is it the same? It's not so Ramaphosa and
Yeah.
the panel. What?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the same concerns you have. I think we all have. Which only a few people are going to be really representing the people in this thing. So it's really sad. But like I said, Mina, my only hope of that impeachment is for them to expose him. What happens after, I don't care, because I know they're going to try by all means not to get him impeached. But through that process, he will be exposed if the right people are asking the right questions.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'll play
I'll
this
pack it there.
video again for maybe use, but live. Maybe we'll get a better understanding.
Trengrove also told the court that continuing the impeachment process would cause the president irreparable public humiliation. Going to embarrass him. It's not nice. Doesn't want to be embarrassed. Okay, don't embarrass the president.
Seeks to interdict the public inquiry. In other words, the hearing of oral evidence. Because the fact of a public inquiry is already humiliating to the president, and a humiliation against which the Act protects him. I will get to the protection afforded to him against that humiliation.
So Judge Matthew Francis heard and responded from the bench. He says, Section 89 is really for the people of South Africa. The general populace must also be factored into the issue of harm. If there is going to be humiliation, that is just part of the job. Oh, Judge Matthew Francis, it's part of the job, being embarrassed. A sitting judge told the president's senior counsel out loud in open court, accountability is in the job description. You signed up for this. I get it was nice. Putting there on your CV, me, I'm presidential. I'm lawful. I'm upstanding member of society. But I know, you're so guys. Anyway, Advocate Dalimpofu also then went on further. He said the humiliation argument is speculative. Ramaphosa's papers don't name a single person who's going to defame him. And then Dalimpofu further delivered the line, which is the line of the week. So has Arthur Fraser. So have all the people who are supposed to defame him. The damage is already done. What is it that you must interdict? What is it? King, we interdict now. You're already embarrassed. In fact, you're embarrassed. Stop it. In any way, Arthur Fraser also already blew the whistle. We know. Rubonetse, Papa. The panel report is public. The Constitutional Court judgment is public. We know. The only thing an interdict actually protects at this point is the president's ability to avoid sitting before a committee and answering questions under oath. We get the judgment next week, but whatever it says, a judge already told this country something worth holding on to. The people's right to answers is also a form of harm that is worth protecting. Sharp. Let's wait until next week.
Yeah. But then, yeah, so you get it. Yeah, now you're glitching now. But yeah, I still think it's crazy, man. Like, this thing to me, it doesn't get old, you know what I mean? Because it's like, I don't even think it's as big as it should be in the country. But I know that every time I've heard anyone speaking about it, they've all been outraged, you know what I mean? everybody's like, it's just crazy, you know. But then I did see something as well with Arthur Fraser. It's like someone was trying to bribe him with some 50 million or whatnot. I don't know if you know anything about that. Where is he now? Is he safe? At this point, I think your boy is danger, man.
Arthur Fraser used to be, I don't know, they call him a former spy boss. So he used to handle a certain department. So I believe he's one of those guys who can, he's got connections within those spies. So you can't really do much to him.
So
Because
like
he's
a
got
private
intelligence,
spy
that guy.
or a government
For the fact,
spy.
I don't know whether he was in the intelligence, but they call him the former spy boss, whatever that is. Before he was a commissioner or whatever of correctional services. That was his last post. And he blew the whistle when he was still there or from there after retiring or being moved, I don't know.
It's crazy,
So,
man.
but yeah, this is crazy, bro. And maybe the reason why this thing, it appears as if it's so quiet in the country is because the media is reporting it politely. You know, they are not shouting like they shouted to former President home. You see, remember how the journalists will handle that guy.
It was hectic.
He would speak, and then there will be people holding placards indoors in some hall, bro.
Yeah.
There's this lady, especially during the rape case accusations. There's this lady now. She's at ENCA. The lady, I forgot her name, but yeah, she was she was the general. She was on the front line. So it's the way these journalists are reporting this thing. They are not as robust as we know them to.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Anything, man.
Those money.
I mean,
Maybe you should. No, go ahead. That's just bullshitting. You can go ahead, bro.
I'm saying that it is embarrassing. It is embarrassing that the fact that Bakalango would say he's gonna get embarrassed, but the most embarrassing thing is that he doesn't want to let all of this pass, to let the judgment, the verdict to go through. It's embarrassing that he's trying to stop this. It's embarrassing that he's trying again.
It's
They
already an
mentioned
embarrassment.
section is they mentioned section 89, which is he has violated every constitutional law possible. He's a criminal and he should be tried, and in my opinion you should be facing way more than just impeachment, because this thing has been going on for a long time. You mentioned the whistleblower who at the phrase, I don't know what's going on with him. Is he still around? Is he still alive?
Well,
He's still alive. He's still alive. He just did an interview months back, 2 months back, or so he's still around.
What if I told you that the silence around the biggest political scandal in recent South African history was priced at 50 million rand, or better yet, a blank check? Imagine opening a criminal case against the President of the Republic, and less than 14 days later, the underworld, political heavyweights, and state apparatus all converge to make you an offer you supposedly can't refuse: state protection, your choice of any government department, and the erasure of your name from the Zondo Commission on State Capture. But when you refuse the carrot, they bring out the stick. Now, let's get into the prima facie facts, because the Constitutional Court just threw a massive spanner in the works, and President Cyril Ramaphosa's political survival is hanging by a thread. Let's rewind to June 1, 2022. Former State Security Agency boss Arthur Fraser walks into the Rosebank police station and blows the lid
you heard former Secretary State.
He lays a criminal complaint regarding the theft of millions in foreign currency hidden in furniture. But it's what happens after the police stamp that docket that sounds like a script straight out of a Hollywood mafia movie. In an exclusive interview with veteran journalist Mzilikazi wa Africa for the Unpopular Opinion podcast, Fraser drops absolute bombshells. Listen to this.
So, talking about making ends meet, shortly after you opened the Phala case, you were approached and offered a whole lot of money.
That's true.
It's about 50 million.
Plus.
50 million plus.
No, it was 50 million and there was additional.
To drop the case. Tell us about that. How did it happen?
Okay, that happened on the 15th of June.
Yes.
Even this, by the way, it needs to be investigated. Like, we need to find out who are those people that were sent there to bribe this person. And then they have to expose the person that gave them that order to go and bribe this person. And then that person that sent those people must say, where did the money come? Well, we know it's from Ramaphosa, but where did that money come from? On the own pockets or state funds or whatnot? Where do you get 50 million rand? Not only that, and you just offer like a government position, like it's nothing. You can just choose any department you want to, you know what I mean? So obviously it's someone that can do that. And yes, we can conspiracize and say there's handlers, there's people behind the scenes that are running government, of which is true, but we cannot prove that, right? What we do know, the person that can do that can shift around people in whatever department is the president. You know what I mean? So he is the one that we see with our eyes and that we know has that power to just give people departments. You know what I mean? So if we hear an allegation of that he was offered any department, who in South African government can do that? Who can offer a department? Is the same guy being, under scrutiny.
And according to Arthur Fraser, I wanted to say, according to Arthur Fraser during this interview, he said, I'm not sure if he's going to say it here, but the main guy who contacted him using other guys was Uchauka, what is Ramaphosa's guy. He handles his things. He was also the same guy who was in charge of OCR17 campaign. What.
So, I mean, he needs to be there at the commission as well. We need to hear straight out of his mouth him saying, hey, you know what? I was sent by Ramaphosa to go and bribe Arthur Fraser. We need those words. You know what I mean? And then, fine. Ramaphosa now is going to get the same question. Okay, fine. You're already guilty that you're trying to bribe someone and whatnot. Now we want to know.
And you know who's going to ask this question? You know who's going to ask the question? It's MK.
Oh, Zungula. I think Zungula is smart.
Yeah, I would say, well, you know why I'm saying the MK? Because those guys, even during the ad hoc, they will take something else and try and bring it in within what was being asked there. they try to bring in Palapala in there, so they definitely aware of this interview and they're gonna bring it up. Even Zumula too is capable of bringing this interview up, but you will see how they will dismiss it. You will see.
Yeah, we hope that this chair will not just be happy to have a position that is gonna pay him well, and actually do his job. Because sometimes if you take someone from, I don't know, maybe he's a rich guy, but politically he's from a small party, so you think that he's maybe ambitious to get to a higher point. Maybe they can convince him, like, look, man, you think you wanna do good? You think you wanna go by the law? Look, man, just do this for us. We're gonna make sure that you're fine in politics. You're always going to have a government position. You're going to have all the money that you want. Your kids are going to go to all the best schools. We're going to give you any type of dual citizenship. If you want to also have an English passport or a French passport, we can make it happen. I can call my boy Macron. You can make it happen. You know what I mean? Whatever, bro. We can make your life incredible. Just make sure that if you hear questions that perhaps maybe can put me into trouble, you know what? Find a way to just gloss over that. And some people you mustn't give them too much airtime. You know what I mean? Who knows? But I doubt that Ramaphosa is just sitting there and is putting all his hope on this High Court interdict. There's no way he's just putting all his hope on that. He's selecting his team that is going to represent him in the committee. Yeah.
Here's another thing. You just reminded me of. I think weeks back, I heard he shifted his cabinet. We woke up and we were told he made a shift. So I was like, why? Maybe he's putting in people who are going to be paid for the impeachment committee to do his bidding. I don't know, but I didn't see the shift because it's boring looking at these people. But he has made some changes with cabinet. Well, I've heard.
Yes, I think I saw that.
So why the shift now during this time? So who called Shaman?
You know what's crazy?
So if any of those names are there on the list, huh?
It was June 30. Imagine.
While everyone is occupied by March and March, he's making undercover moves.
Imagine, bruh. It's so crazy.
And he picked a perfect date.
He picked a perfect date, bruh.
I'm also looking at that he did a consultation with the DA.
When?
This is wild.
On that same day when they were shifting around the cabinet.
Obviously, he boosted someone from the DA. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, join on season.
Gave him some ministerial position.
No, a very important position, bruh. This is a very, he went from being Minister of Agriculture to Deputy Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition.
Imagine. You see, already DA is compromised.
They compromised, bro. It's so crazy. But let me continue this video.
Even the new deputy minister of education, I don't know, the Muslim guy. I think we talked about it yesterday. He came in that shift, so he put in new people.
Yeah, I saw a Muslim guy.
Yeah, oh my goodness. So a lot of things behind the scenes were happening on June 30. So that is even...
Where is he from? Is he from
than we thought.
So he changed. He put it by Yusuf Qasim as Deputy Minister of Higher Education. What was he, bro? Bro, this guy is 36, bro. It's from the DA as well.
Which party is he from?
DA.
You see, DA is getting some,
and then
is getting some positions.
Who's Jack Bloom? Another DA guy. Let me see Alexandra Abrahams as the Minister of Electricity and Energy. Let's see.
You said something, but he said he was consulting with the DA.
Hey, bro.
Yeah,
bro. That's how it is. That's our president.
The shape of the government, of the cabinet. So I don't know how many country members are in the GNU.
5 or something. I'm not sure.
But he was mainly talking to, or I guess consulting with.
It's just the DA.
It's just the DA. So the other members, if you look at all those positions, are only occupied, the new positions, they're only occupied by DA members.
It's the DA. All of them. This is wild behavior, bro. So imagine now. So already.
So are you telling me DA is going to go against him?
Oh, no. Hell to the no. Hell no. Because already, what if this, let me see how many of them are there, like 4, 5, 6. And DA needs 5 members. So the only ANC person that he put up was Dina Poole, who is the ANC, like, and she has some controversy behind the name, you know what I mean? Hey, this is insanity. Hey, Bo. So, in 2013, the misconduct allegations against Poole stem from her romantic relationship with Phosane Mqhibisa, a businessman who was alleged to have received improper benefits as a result of his relationship with Poole.
Was she married, Poole? Was she married?
No, it was just a romantic relationship with the businessman. Was she married? Well, it's written here, Miss. So I don't know. Maybe let me.
She's not married. If they're saying Miss Poole, maybe she divorced. Who knows? Because of that engagement.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find out here. It doesn't seem as though she was ever married.
We're doing that, then, just fishing.
And then, like, she's like promoted and given a position. So maybe that lady was talking about this lady, you know? I don't know. And then, damn, as I'm reading it, it's written the Honorable Dina Poole. As if there's anything honorable. This is insanity, bruh. But let me continue this video.
This must be crazy.
It must be crazy for sure.
Lapalakis, you were approached and offered a whole lot of money.
That's true.
It's about 50 million.
Plus.
50 million plus.
No, it was 50 million and there was additional.
To drop the case. Tell us about that. How did it happen?
Okay, you know, that happened on the 15th of June,
yes,
2022.
Yes. It's like 14 days after I opened the case.
Correct.
After I opened the Palapala case, I was offered 50 million rand plus some additional money to drop the case 14 days after I opened the Palapala case. 50 million rand in 14 days. According to Fraser, a former associate of his was approached by none other than the slain Cape Town underworld figure Mark Liffman. Liffman allegedly claimed he had a direct line to the president's inner circle. The mandate? Make the Palapala docket disappear. But the 50 million rand was just the starting bid.
What's that name?
Liffman allegedly, Mark
Liffman. Okay.
Liffman allegedly claimed he had a direct line to the president's inner circle. The mandate? Make the Phala docket disappear. But the 50 million rand was just the starting bid. Fraser claims he was told he could choose any government department he wanted, including a return to...
Okay, so let me just read this guy. Mark Liffman, they're saying was. Oh, wow. He died in 2024. This is crazy.
I didn't know that.
So Mark Liffman was a South African businessman associated with organized crime in Cape Town, known for his involvement in nightclub security and alleged protection records. Liffman faced multiple serious charges over the years, including murder, attempted murder, money laundering, gang-related offenses, and tax evasion. Hey, bro. Hey.
So he was, but you remember what they said? He has someone in the president's inner circle, and that connection is this guy. You see this guy wearing an ANC t-shirt there? I think it's Chawuk.
He was assassinated. This is insanity.
And you can Google it just to be sure. You know who else who died? A general who was responsible for some investigations related to Phala. They lied and said he died because of COVID. But 10 days after his burial, his wife requested this thing. I don't know, I forgot the name of it, where they dig up the body again and then run some tests, and then they found poison. And then they investigated which he wasn't accidentally or but it showed which he was assassinated with using poison. And during his death, when he just died, police were already at his house asking for his work laptop, work cell phone.
Oh yeah, it's Cindy Lemfazi.
Yeah, that's the guy's name, the general. Can you double check if he was involved in the investigation of Phala?
Yeah, okay. It's saying that Mfazi died on July 8th, 2021.
So it can't be just a coincidence now.
Yeah, let me finish reading. And Mfazi died on July 8th, 2021, and it was initially reported by authorities that he had succumbed to COVID-19 complications. And then he made an investigation. After his family raised alarms, his body was exhumed. Toxicology reports later confirmed that he had been poisoned, and the police officially reclassified his death as a murder investigation. Before his death, Mfazi was quietly investigating the fallout of the 2020 burglary at Ramaphosa's Phala farm. Crucially, his inquiry focused on the allegations the state resources and the crime intelligence funds were unlawfully diverted to conduct a covert of the book operations to track the thieves and whatnot. So yeah, he was on that case. It's wild, bro. We live in a movie, bro. These people are just taking the power to their hands and doing willy-nilly, bro. But let me continue with this video.
To Fraser, a former associate of his was approached by none other than the slain Cape Town underworld figure Mark Liffman. Liffman allegedly claimed he had a direct line to the president's inner circle. The mandate? Make the Phala docket disappear. But the 50 million rand was just the starting bid. Fraser claims he was told he could choose any government department he wanted, including a return to intelligence. Think about the political expediency here, offering the keys to state intelligence to bury a burglary. That is the definition of a constitutional crisis.
That person asked.
Hey, this is insane. It's more crazy.
Where can come out case? Fraser.
So Fraser must have hella protection on his side, bruh, to not be scared. You know, a regular person, bruh, will take that deal, bruh, immediately.
Yeah,
And
50
it's an open deal
million.
as well. You can even negotiate. You can be like, okay, 50 million. Okay, I can take 50 million, but you know what? Let me test them. 100 million and see what they do. And see what they do, you know.
And then go and you leave the country.
You know, in fact, you can stay in the country in the nicest places imaginable, and then you can.
But
just
they're always going to be watching you. Remember, they gave 100 million, but it doesn't mean they're just going to let you go like that. They're always going to be monitoring you, right? You just gotta fuck out of here. Get the fuck out.
It's insane, bro. What is happening? It must be crazy.
And the coincidence is, bruh, the guy who was sent, so allegedly sent to talk to Arthur Fraser died in 2024. The guy who was investigating Pala, coincidentally, he also died. And his death, it even shows you something is fishy because they rushed and claimed it was COVID-19, but then the family was like, nah.
Yeah, and it was checked, and then they found that it was poison, and then they reclassified it as a COVID death to a murder. So they made it an investigation. So now I don't know if that investigation, what happened with that investigation? Is the case still open?
Weeks. I think 2 weeks ago. Yeah. 2 weeks ago, this police spokesperson, the ACP spokesperson, she discussed the matter. The thing is still on. And now, with so much eyes on it, I think cable people are assigned to it. But now it's very interesting how far it's going to get. Because a lot of things are happening. The impeachment is happening. These investigations are happening. Yeah.
This is insane, man. This is so wild, bro. Yo, people, make sure you like and subscribe and comment, yo. But let me just play this video by Prince Marshall. You know what I mean? You know, it's not necessarily talking about this Ramaphosa situation, but I guess it's talking just about. You remember? I don't know. It was last week or whatnot. Because I saw a longer video of this thing, but then I just saw that somebody clipped it up, you know, and made it shorts and whatnot, where it's basically, I guess, his way of how he would change things, I guess.
Jail political criminals and restore law and order in society. The Chinese
relates to this.
Kill chickens to scare monkeys. Do it differently in South Africa. Kill monkeys to scare chickens. So in other words, you target the people at the top. So let me give you an example, my son. Here's a practical example. In 2029, you take over government. You say you appoint Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Within 3 months of that new government, you appoint Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, make him national commissioner. By the way, he has the file, so it's very easy. It's not going to take time figuring out who did what. He has all the files. You say, chap, from today on, you are the national commissioner. We are giving you a specific instruction. Everyone who was a minister or president under the ANC from Zuma all the way to Cyril Ramaphosa is under investigation. Top priority. He who didn't do any crime doesn't go to jail, it's obvious. The one who has done crime, that person goes to jail. They must be seen arrested. And when you arrest them, there must be TV cameras. Mike, please prepare your cameras. They must be chained. And from Cyril Ramaphosa for Palapal, here's the thing. If you were found with those dollars in your couch, by now you'll be in jail. We know it is criminal. So Cyril is very easy because he has admitted that dollars were stolen. So he doesn't even say, no, there was no money. No, he has admitted. So you go for them. You arrest them. Those are the monkeys. The chicken down there will stop whatever nonsense they are doing. Because they will say, if you can go for those ones, who am I? Let me just stop before they get to me. That's how Lee Kuan Yew did it in Singapore. He arrested the ministers. So you go for them. So that's the second. But the other component about it is never neglect law and order in communities. Our communities are broken. There's no law and order. And you clean up the police, there's a whole plan in terms of how you do it.
Yeah, man.
I like it.
Kill the monkeys.
Yeah, I like his approach. Kill the monkeys. Yeah, bro. And there's another. I think I sent you this clip. There's this white old man. He was in some discussion. He was saying this Madama commission thing should be a permanent thing. There should be given some department, like it should be like formed as a new structure. They take care of certain such things, all year round.
But I would say
in other departments as well, whether it's correctional or military or education, everywhere. It should be an ongoing thing.
Yeah, basically, you see how much they pay attention to all these human rights things. The fact that there's a human rights commission that is forever standing, but then as we know that it doesn't really help people, it just always blames people and tries to ruin people's lives. That's what they do. They're supposed to be a human rights commission, but they always jump for whose life we want to ruin now. You are racist. You are homophobic. You are xenophobic. Yeah, this. You're a woman beater. You're this, that, and that. That's what they always try to do. You never hear them come out and be like, you know what? We're building communities. Harmony. You know what I mean? We like whatever a good thing they can do. No, they're always pointing out people. You see, they went after Ungizwe. They're always going after people instead of like actually helping. You know what I mean?
Now they're busy trying to link Jacinta with Zuma and the other people who are there in the march and march.
You see,
leadership.
That's what they focus on.
I think they are lawyers or something. But yeah, some
weird stuff. You know what I mean? So that's the crazy part to me, bro. But hey, man, it's crazy. But also, I have a question. Why do you think all these things are happening in South Africa? You can even
now
put it to Africa as well. Why is it that these people can't govern? Because it's a governing issue, bro. No one is actually the position they represent. The president is not a president. Ministers are not ministers. Members of parliament are not members of parliament. A premier is not a premier. A mayor is not a mayor. A police is not a police. Order management is not order management. Home affairs is not home affairs. Education is not education. All these things, bro. It's almost like football. I tell you, you're a goalkeeper. Next thing I see, you're in the middle of the pitch. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? The striker is a goalkeeper now. What is this? And it's happening all over Africa. So why do you think maybe that is?
We had this conversation earlier when I was there, behind closed doors, but without cameras. Now that you're asking it, I never said anything before, but as you mentioned, all these parties, border immigration, what. I'm just going to circle on the easiest explanation, not including puppet masters, whether they're here or global or internationally, but they're just here. It's greed. It's greedy and selfishness. Because I think greed and being selfish goes, maybe two sides of the same coin. So it's that for me. It's greed and selfishness. People only care about themselves. It's okay to only care about yourself if you are reaping the rewards or the spoils of your own creation, of your own organization. That's fine, like your own company. But if it's a state company, like running the country, And it's not, you are not just responsible for your family, but you are responsible for the nation. And then you get greedy within that structure. Then it shows that you are selfish, and then you are greedy. You're only thinking for yourself. You run the state like you're running your own organization. So I would say that that's the only reason. And the moment it's done there on top, same people on the bottom are going to do the same thing, but in their levels. And you can even go back to that example. It's okay, the Chinese will kill the chickens to scare the monkey, but again, whoever is in the position of fixing these wrongs should just kill the monkey straight and scare the chickens. Because the chickens really, but again, my answer is it's greed and selfishness, bro. As I've made examples, which you can't run a state like you're running your own home or you're running your own company. There it's fine, it's yours. Even there too, there are people who are going to try and hold you accountable. But at least it's your thing. But with the state, bro, the mandate is clear. The mandate is clear. Because for our states, as like the government institutions, me, I see it as a business, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Because a business runs and then its aim is to get profits and then so the person in charge of the business makes more money and the people, the chickens down there, now they make smaller change to be able to make a living. And in a private world, bro, a company has to make profit. And when it comes to us or to them running a state, they don't take it as a business. They're always running losses, and even in those losses, they loot there in those losses. How is this whole thing, entire thing, supposed to function? If certain organs that keep it alive are always sliced, sometimes a huge chunk of a piece. So it's selfishness and greed. And then if we were to put in the puppets masters, that's a whole new discussion. But just keeping it chair, greed and selfishness. I'll pack it there.
Do you think maybe policies or maybe political ideologies have anything to do with it at all? Like this left
and
bro.
Communism, I wouldn't say policies and ideologies are involved. People are just looking after themselves. So it's their own individual policies, personal policies for me. Because you can have the most perfect policy and whatnot, but if someone has bad intentions, they'll go around and do whatever. I'll make an example. We are all innocent until proven guilty. But is that really the case? I mean, yes, Malema was found guilty, but he's not serving his sentence. He's busy running around. But for a normal person like me, would I be able to be found guilty and still be running around in the streets? No. Just after the Palapala saga, bro, do you know how many people were found with cash in their cars? Where did they end up? In jail. So you can have the most whatever sparkling policy, diamond shaped policy, but it doesn't matter if the person who's supposed to look after the police and make sure it functions and is followed accordingly. If them themselves don't respect it, don't follow it, it's useless. And even the ideology is something they say to lie to us or to lie to themselves, amongst themselves. But an individual person, when they're looking at the 50 million that Arthur Fraser was offered, they think for themselves. There's no ideology there. The only ideology is how do I survive and keep it going till the end of time and for the next generation of my offspring. I don't know if I answered you. I just went on a long
No,
rant.
I'm taking it. I'm listening.
Well, let's be. It's.
Yeah, I'm just noticing a pattern here that every time there is a significant political shift in South Africa or anything that happens, there's always a couple of politicians that just end up dying. Just like when there was this talks of GNU 2024, people mysteriously died, the people were assassinated in their homes, even in Angola, even during this whole thing, people were just dying. And again, this is not a matter of political differences. No. This is this is way more than we thought, because there is no way in this whole, for example, this Pala issue, where you bribed the people that came to steal from you to make it to keep it quiet. What are you really hiding? Really? And after that, you're bribing other people who might have knowledge of what happened, or and some were taken out. And even the JNU people were taken out. There was a DA, for example, where one of the political parties that were pushing this whole thing of impeachment of the whole Pala issue. But then all of a sudden now we're seeing a cabinet shift, and then a DA member, parliament members being appointed in positions. This is weird and strange at how far they are willing to go to disrespect the public and disregard the laws as a whole. It is pathetic and disgusting. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if in a couple of months right now we see people dying again. Already we saw, like, during this whole match and match
I'm
thing.
still shocked that Atta Fraser is still alive.
Like, again, there's a lot of information that is being hidden, and of course it's gonna
Maybe
come out.
he's a spy for real.
Maybe. I mean, that's why in the beginning I didn't fully understand, but then now I'm starting to get it, that why this whole thing is important, that he should be questioned with Ramaphosa. They should put him in a hot seat, and it will expose his incompetence, because Section 82, literally, it doesn't fit the bill, because he's not fit to be in office. I don't know why he's fighting so much. Yeah, 89, sorry. I don't know why he's fighting so much to still be in this position. And again, this is no longer about politics. No ways. This is no longer about politics. This is way more. Politics. And you asked a question. The thing is, I think it's more like disability. It's not something that even though Ramaphosa, fine, Ramaphosa is in the front lines. I get it. Yes, we're gonna blame him. Of course, it's his fault. But then again, you also ask the question of why is it always a governing issue with African countries? There's always.
So yes, that's the thing. So politics should end.
Yeah, that was the question.
Once someone wins, right? So you can politic and do these things and try to convince us, whether fairly or unfairly, buy people to represent you and not buy celebrities to go perform at your rallies, do all that thing, whatever, right? Once we choose who we choose for them to go into office, the politicking must stop from there. Because now there's a different game now. Now you have to govern. So now, what are you politicking if you were president? Like you're supposed to be working now. You know what I mean? You there, you got the job. Now you have to do what you have to do. If you're a minister, you got the job. Now you have to do the job. You know, and these people, you know how many deputies they have, bro? It's minister, and then you have a deputy minister, and then when it's like that, you have whatever. They have so many positions, bro, and even general, you know, manager. Yeah, like, bro, why so many bosses in government, bro? Supervisor, you know, you have this. What are we talking about? Because in my assumption, bro, if you're a minister, fine, you can have your deputy, right? And they have secretaries. They have like a lot of teams in each and every one of them, right? But it should be a minister, and then fine, you can have your deputy minister, right? And then you should have maybe a group of like 5 or 6 people, you know, that are like the team for this department, right? Whether the secretary general of there and whatnot, and then full stop. So the two, like minister, deputy, and the team of like 5 people, and then the rest are just normal employees. They're just supposed to carry out the job. Obviously, you're gonna have your finance office, you know, you're gonna have your administration, you know, you're gonna have your data, whatnot, where every your filing system and whatnot, you have whatnot. Not that even if bro, you go to one government building, bro, that one government building, bro, has bosses as well. No, you can't have so many bosses, bro. You know, there's no way you can have so many bosses, bro. This is crazy, bro. You know, you should have just a bunch of employees and then a group of like 5 people that are like handling most of the work, and then you have your 2 ministers, a minister and a deputy. Full stop. I shouldn't just go to a random building, bro, a random Department of Education somewhere. And there I have to face issues of now I have to speak to this one, you know, general who, manager who. Man, like I was even shocked, even in municipalities. If you have a mayor, what is the job of the city manager? What is that?
There's a deputy mayor.
There's a deputy mayor. Bro, there's so many weird positions, bro. That are the total waste of taxpayer money, bro. You know what I mean? Because the aim should be about the job, bro, and that's it. Like even this thing of
And
like,
then,
yeah.
no, I just wanted to add on your statement there that even this whole thing of just interchanging positions all the fucking time, where a minister of finance will be a minister of labor. There's been a lot throughout the years, ever since
And then be a minister of the army, and
land,
then the
this
minister
whole
of
thing.
agriculture, and
In
then goes
democracy
to
of South Africa
education.
for 30 years. It's been a trend. Just if you are a minister of either labor or finance, you can just interchange those positions. Why is that a thing where, like, what is their qualification at this point? Like,
Well, qualifications don't matter.
clearly, I mean, they just enjoy employing their friends. And if there's an issue, just like how EDA was in the front lines, pretending as if they care about this whole Palapala issue, they were silenced with just positions. Like me, one of
And the
your
coalition, you
members,
know, JNU, they came together.
like, this is absurd. Ostenaizen, how many positions has he held ever since GNU was established? A
I
lot.
wonder how some of the members of the ANC are feeling about this, because I'm sure that there are some members that feel betrayed. You know, they're like, damn, now I'm losing out on this position. This president promised me something. And now, like, I have to watch the opposition being given all these positions. You know what I mean? So they must be, like, frustrated and perhaps maybe angry. So I'm hoping that they are. Maybe they're going to lash out and then maybe stab Ramaphosa in the back. You know what I mean? Figuratively, you know.
You must remember what I just said, that some of them njalo have turned out to be assassinated or mysteriously gotten ill from a certain sickness and then died in their homes. So a lot of them are mixed. There's people from ETA, there's a lot of people from ANC that mysteriously, it's either they were sick and then they died, and then some of them, they were actually assassinated. Or there is a theory of they were assassinated in both ANC and ETA. So
and the ANC in the history of Lethelani Sibindi. You know the thing of ANC where ubala poison Sibindi.
I thought you were talking about the courage. Don't you talking about I think it gives them an oomph, you know, to go around and say whatever they want to say.
I would say allegedly to be safe, because I've only heard this when you see when people were just gossiping and people know this. I think it was public knowledge, but I would say allegedly. Our own, that guy that was corrupt during COVID-19, who Dr. Zulimkis, they say allegedly he poisoned former President Jacob Zuma with this meat. There was this time where he went to Russia, I don't know what happened. So he ate his meat, you know. So I'm just saying, and by the history allegedly
So it's one of those meals. So it's like the police, I don't know, it's Western police, they love Donald's. And then South African politicians love liver meat. It's insane. But okay, I have a video. I'm curious what you guys think about it. So I'm just gonna play it, and then I'm curious what you guys have to say about it.
The problem with the South African left is that much of them are still stuck in the politics of the Cold War, and many of them are straight up communist in nature, and it's no wonder why our country is not moving forward. It's no wonder why they still rely on outdated slogans like "and the people shall govern," instead of developing modern policies and strategies for economic growth. It's no wonder why in South Africa you can still have a party like the Umkhonto weSizwe. Why is Umkhonto weSizwe relevant in a modern day democratic South Africa? It's precisely an example of people wielding history to consolidate their political power. History, slogans, no impact. That's precisely the issue. They continue to view politics through the lens of the struggle instead of developing methods on improving productivity, innovation, and growth. And the issue with these left-wing parties in South Africa is they only know how to liberate. They don't know how to govern. They are not administrators. They were only taught on how to destroy an existing system, not how to preside over a new one. Parties and individuals that are Black struggle stalwarts in South Africa venerate today, the likes of the PAC, Azania, leaders like Chris Hani. We have to understand that these parties and individuals actively received funding and training from Moscow and Beijing. Chris Hani went to the Soviet Union, received training by the Russians. The PAC and Azania were actively funded by Mao's regime, and they were used as puppets as part of Mao's broader goal of world revolution to oversee the destruction and the elimination of Western imperialistic capitalism in South Africa, i.e. the apartheid state. Issue is that this thinking has now translated into the modern day. The thing about this is that I'm not making it up. The Maoist idea that the vanguard party, i.e. the liberation movement, should control the state, the judiciary, and the police is an idea that we see in the ANC's National Democratic Revolution policy documents. It's Marxist-Leninist idea idea of state control over all levers of power was literally promulgated by Jacob Zuma in 1998 when he said the ANC or the National Liberation Movement must control all levers of powers, the regulatory bodies, the intelligence structures, the military, the public broadcaster. All of it was said. And they've actively enforced and implemented this idea via cadre deployment, which has coincided with the collapse of our state institutions. The whole idea of radical economic transformation pushed by Zuma and Julius Malema is a Maoist idea. The idea that the state should control the economy, eliminate private enterprise, and destroy capitalism is directly informed by them. Why do you think that economic freedom for Black people is sold as primarily coming through the centralization of state power, NHI, land expropriation without compensation, state custodianship of the land, the nationalization of the mines? It's almost as if we can't see that it's only the private sector that is keeping this country afloat. It's almost as if we can't see wherever government runs its tentacles, things fall apart.
So yeah, what you think about that?
Hey, just typing this message. I mean, I agree with him on certain things, and then somewhere I don't agree. Yeah, because I'll make a good example. There's a part where he says it was what Mao's idea he was using them. Here's the thing. It's during the apartheid era right now, let's say. And you have people and you have no power to fight for yourself. You need weapons. You need a financial assistant. There's no one who's going to give it to you. And if someone comes, of course they're not going to help you at the goodness of their heart. Of course they want something. In the way, like you have to make a deal at some point. And when make some sacrifices. Because let's say Mao didn't inject whatever, capital, whatever, and whatever the ideology gave them. And Stalin, Russia, didn't train or Christian. Like today, what South Africa would we have?
I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, we'll never know. Can you try and imagine? There's no fighting. There's just the only people who are getting it their ways. The people who are oppressing you. How far can you go? And he said Mao was using them and Russian. So what have they gained from the investment they made today?
Well, we don't know about
of course there is.
But I'm sure they benefit a lot.
I'll make another example that hits closer to home. Remember the Gupta situation? Let's be honest now. You remember I told you about those past coal companies that were charging equally, getting 1,000%, and then Zuma came and then they cancelled those contracts, and then the price of producing electricity came down. And then the Guptas came into the picture. Well, they've been in the picture when Mandela was there. They just choose to ignore that. Let's push that aside. So how many black billionaires was Jacob Zuma going to work with if the Guptas went around? There's not much black people with so much money to throw around. Of course, you need money from somewhere to use those funds to achieve your goals. Of course, now they have to get something, piece of the pie. It's business at the end of the day. The question is, once you're finished, how do you restructure that whole relationship? Yes, I've given you power, now I'm taking it. Now I'm here. Renegotiation. Because there's a lot, man. I agree with him in certain things, and I disagree with him in certain things. Because here's the thing, bro. I'm not saying I'm defending communism, capitalism, socialism, what. But can people who are intelligent, who are smart, who are coming up with all these policies do anything without these, whatever, whether it's socialism or whether it's what? Those things will never see light of day. The only problem we have here is not that they came from the struggle. They only know that now they don't have a room to like a role to play in this modern economic or political situation. Because the only thing is, we have a lot of capable people, but even those capable people, they can't they can't tell us their ideas. They can't do anything because they have people who are in charge who lack the vision. Even if some of them don't lack the vision, but they just don't want to prioritize what. They want to import cars from Germany. They want to import cars from Britain, from Japan. They don't want to invest. But I agree with him, I disagree with him in certain places. But what I would say, you know, those educated people, bro, who study things, and then, you know, when you have a lot of information, sometimes if you're not wise enough, it bends you as if you can share it with someone, with everyone. And when you share that with everyone, you forget that you are not the most you're not the most intelligent in the room. There are others more intelligent than you.
Yeah,
so
man.
For me, him speaking like that is just it's a repetition of what he has studied.
Yeah, it sounds
or
like he
research.
just received this information.
Like he's about, I don't think he really thought about it. So it's okay, if this wasn't here, what's going to happen? If this wasn't here, what was going to happen? Because I'll tell you now, let me make an example quick. If you are working in a municipality like Gauteng or Durban municipality, you're working there. You are very good at your job. You are a manager or whatever, but you do the most important stuff. And then an NC comes into power. Whatever work you're doing, no matter how good you are, they're gonna change you or force you to ignore certain things you were doing. Not because you want to, but it's the powers that be. NC is voted out, comes EFF, same things are gonna change again. Yeah, well, it's not that there's no such ban people out there.
Yeah, for me, I'm not gonna focus mostly on the past in terms of apartheid days because it's not gonna help us now. We're here now. So I agree with him most of what he said if I'm just only applying it today, you know, not going back to Chris Hani and all of that stuff, right? So today, I do think that he does have a point when he says that they are using whatever that was happening in the past, the same slogans, you know. But most importantly, they're using that ideology of, hey guys, you are oppressed. You know, we need to rise, you know, against the establishment and take back our power. Oh my God. I do think that is outdated today, bruh. You know, it's like, to me, I was never really a fan of those antics to begin with, you know what I mean? Because I've always pictured a rally or whatever these things they put together. If there's someone politically there that wants some votes, I'm expecting them to tell me what they want to do or willing to do to make this country a better place. Not to feed me with negativity of how much I'm so oppressed, of how much my skin color is so much of me being behind, you know, of so much, you know, like, bruh, you're not motivating me. Like, you want like a sympathy vote, bruh. You want me to feel bad for myself and think that you're gonna be my savior and say, now I must vote for you. So I don't like that at all. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like it, that, you know, this idea that, you know, by virtue of having this type of skin color, you're on the bottom. You know what I mean? I think that is what keeps most people on the bottom more than actually structures and of course, obviously, systems and whatnot. They are the main parts of this thing. You know what I mean? They're like water when you're cooking food. Like it's always there. You know what I mean? But things could be better if these people actually knew how to govern and forget about the struggle. We don't need no more liberation, bruh. Well, for how long are we going to be liberated, bruh? For how long? I'm tired of this liberation now. Because what happens is it's always a new thing that is coming on. Hey, now people must act this way. Oh, now we have a new policy or we have a new law. And now if you sneeze, you're going to get arrested because you're not being kind to the next person. You know, they focus on the wrong stuff. I want to hear about the economic plan, bruh, the growth. How are you going to open up the country, bruh? You know what I mean? How are you going to help facilitate entrepreneurship? Because understanding the economy, you need like businesses, bruh. People with businesses can employ other people as well. And then there's innovations that come out of that. You know what I mean? There can be collaborations. You know what I mean? We can have a potential of having a business that might boom and be maybe like Nando's or something. Maybe becomes an international company. Like, you know how much the US is benefiting from McDonald's, bro. McDonald's. You know what I mean? And that's like a small part of what they make, you know what I mean? It's really nothing to them. But if maybe South Africa had a business just like McDonald's alone, there'll be so much, bruh, so much different, you know what I mean? But yeah, this is a smaller scale, but I'm talking even tech companies, you know what I mean? You know, medication, bro. You can't tell me that South Africa, bro, was the first one to do a heart operation and whatnot, all those things, but that's it. Bruh, we should be producing medicines, bruh. You know what I mean? What is wrong with studying, you know, asking the Zulu culture, asking the Xhosa culture, asking the Venda culture, the Basotho culture, the whatnot? Yo, what are your historical medicines that are like this and whatnot? We combine that, we combine it with scientists and labs and whatnot. We find the in between. You know, well, can we make this a pill? Can it help? Damn, imagine if we can maybe not, well, I know they don't want to cure cancer and HIV and all those things, but maybe we can come up with a pill that perhaps helps. And then, you know, big pharma, bruh, pharmaceuticals, bruh, the money that is in there, knowing that there's something that is a medicine that you can get in South Africa, bruh. It boosts the economy, bruh. Not this thing I was talking about tourism, bruh. We cannot depend on tourism, you know. But with that being said, bruh, I think we've come to the end of the show. You know what I mean?
I just want to touch on a couple of things. It won't be long. What I was thinking when the young gentleman there was speaking, I was thinking of, okay, sure, I do agree with you. We need to improve a lot on our politics. And also, if I just need to speak on the past just a little bit, not that the struggle, because I want to talk about is the failure of these so-called, I guess, liberators of the apartheid regime, where you had an opportunity, and in fact, you still do with the breaks. You still have that opportunity to learn. He mentioned learn.
There's nothing to learn, though. You cannot learn on how to govern your own country.
Let me finish.
You can get that within your own country.
Let me say this. Well, the purpose was to learn, right? But also, you already have structures here in South Africa. But then you were sent to Russia. You look at Russia. What do they bring to the world? Nuclear power. They are the global leaders of nuclear power. They are one of the most equal societies, having in the, I guess, the communist regime revolutionized the political landscape. You go to China. Right now, China is the biggest manufacturers of technology, of in fact, everything in China. What do we have to bring to the table? We have it breaks. We have a significant advantage here. So that's what we need to improve on our. I hope you can still hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Venus just disappeared. But then we have a huge a huge advantage. I mean, on how to improve. We already have a basis, a structure with different cultures. They have different intellects, different ideas, but then we're still stuck on the past, which I agree with. See, there's no way that we're still speaking about apartheid and it's been like 30 years. In fact, it's been more than 30 years. But then we still, every time there's a disadvantage or a problem in South Africa, we always like to bring that card, the black card, the apartheid card, all of those cards, but then we never speak on innovation. We never speak on it. Okay, how do we progress? Fine, all the learning has been done. We have traveled all over the world. We see the world where it's at. Okay, we have this and this and this and this and this. We have every type of mineral that we can, every mineral possible to innovate and build a technology that the world has never seen before. What do we do with that? You know what we do? We still sell it to what is that? Those people who buy the unprocessed diamonds and then resell it to us. Is it De Beers? We're still like selling valuable technology to these people. You're telling me that we don't have proper tools to even mine our own
No,
material.
there are proper tools. Everything, bruh, is available. For me, this is why I was saying that we don't need to look outwards. We just have to look inwards, bro. Like there's already established cultures with like millions and billions of years existing, bro. You know what I mean? There's already a blueprint. You know what I mean? So we can just, everything must come from within. You know that you gotta eat, right? So you know, okay, fine. You know, my system to function. So you're gonna make food, right? And then you know that you have to sleep. You know, sometimes it gets cold. So everything, every idea must come from a need. You know, we need to have a strong economy. So what do we do? We need security. So what do we do? You know, maybe we have a strong army. You know, we're more capable in make like our army the greatest in the world if we have to. You know we need education. You know, we like invest in education not just by money but with people. You know, people that actually like to teach. So you know you can restructure things from that point. Like the police person is a person that really likes upholding the law. You know, a teacher is actually a person that likes teaching. It's just innate in them. Obviously, it's not going to be everyone there, but then even those that perhaps never had a passion to teach, but if they come into an environment where it's serious there, they're going to have to fall in line. So everything must come from within, because all these countries, all the Chinese, the Russians, they didn't look elsewhere. They look at themselves and what came natural to them. And that's why they can maintain it for lifetimes. You know, even at 50 years from now, another leader after Putin will probably be the same. Same thing with China. It's not the guy that he was talking about there. It's a different person. But then the regime continues. You know what I mean? Not that if you have Mandela's like this, you have Thabo Mbeki's like this, you have Zuma's like this, you have Ramaphosa's like this. Yo, and you're from the same party? And you're supposed to be all sharing the same values? You know what I mean? So this is the thing. So it should always come from the need. You know, if you need security, you know, you have to secure the borders. You know, you have to be strong, army, education. Like it must come from what we need. We need an economy to boom. Okay, maybe we should get into manufacturing. What do we have? What can we manufacture? You know, what machinery do we need? You know, this, that, like, come on, bro. There's nothing we can learn from other countries, because you know what it's going to be? It's going to be information. And then you're going to have Even this guy that I was playing here, because he studied what he's talking about, so now it doesn't come naturally to him. It's almost like, damn, I got this great idea. You know what? Maybe we should implement it. But then at the end of the day, bruh, like this thing of left and right and whatnot, that is not our shtick, bruh. That is not in our textbooks, original
not.
textbook. You know?
Remember, there was a conversation we had where you were saying that us, I guess, for a better lack of term, because it's like it's much easier. Black people, we like to give away information for free and other valuable materials just willy-nilly, but without having to think. You say, okay, what can we use this for, and use it for ourselves? It makes me think of, this whole thing of Oranje, for example.
I don't want to talk about Oranje. Like, nah, bro, I'm cool with it. Make a different example, bro. No.
Okay, I'll just make something
platforming Oranje, yeah.
I'll just make a general statement of what you go to a land and then you see it's okay, what do we need to develop? Okay, starting from ground zero. You have a farm, you have whatever land. You want to build a house, you want to build whatever you want. What do I need? And what skills do I need from this? So you start cultivating the land. It's okay, I need to remove amache and make sure the soil is fertile. I need animals so that I have compost. I need buildings. I need sand to build wood and all of these things. So how come, and also it ties into how come all of Africa has a governing issue? There is about if someone, we have, I guess, a leader.
I think it's because everything has to be information. Even what you're saying there, yes, I know you don't mean that, but in terms of like what it could come off as, it's almost like there's some studying that needs to be involved there. You know what I mean? Like, I know you didn't say that, but in terms of, what do we need? You know how you need. Again, going back to within, when you're being chased by something, you don't need to study how to run. You know what I mean? This is what needs to happen right now. And you react that way. When it's raining, you need some shelter. When it's whatnot. So it all should come from like needs, not from, it should come from that lower stage and upwards to a point where by now that you know that it's going to rain, you're not going to wait for rain to come. Now you already have a shelter. You know what I mean? So I think it's just that, like, we should stop with this occurring information and whatnot and actually use the information that comes innately to us as human beings. Right now, the world we're in, obviously we're not in that old world. Now we know that, okay, fine. They say that the money makes the world go round, right? So that is the immediate need. So now the issues should be, how do we make that? You know what I mean? How do we make that? And it shouldn't be ideas that are gonna put us in positions where we're not at our best, because now it's almost like I've studied information and now I have to maybe put it like in my body or in my situation and live it somehow. You know what I mean? The same thing with these policies. They can't come with policies that are innately South African. What they do, they look at these policies from overseas and whatnot and try to implement those things here. It don't work for us. It don't help us. But then if perhaps maybe you knew the people that are here, and maybe you don't even have to know the people that are here. If you are from here, you know. You must come from some culture. You know what I mean? So what is it there? You know what I mean? But yeah, man, we're going over time, bro. So yeah, man, let's just end it here. Shout out to the people. Thanks to everyone that was watching and everything. Make sure that you like and subscribe, you comment, do all the nice stuff. Please, guys, subscribe. Please help us, yo. I mean, subscribe, guys. Please, 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 please. We beg, you know what I mean? I hope I said that right. But yeah, man, shout out to everybody that was watching. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.
Peace.